Okay, this is the gloss. Again, I'm not telling the story. This is commentary on the story that I'm telling. And I've got three things that I could say at this point, probably more, but I don't know if I can remember more than that. Although, being a gloss and not fiction, I don't have to cast that spell. I can use notes to explain what's going on. Let me start with the character of Boris. Boris Paul Gaines Jr. Well, the illusion there, which I think many people would get right away, is the name Paul, his middle name, Paul. He had in the Bible, in the New Testament, it tells how Paul had a conversion experience while on the road to Damascus, where he was struck blind, and he'd been persecuting Christians, but then became a big time Christian. That there's an illusion. It's to Christians that are studied, it would be real obvious what that illusion is. But I thought I should maybe mention that. But his name, though, the rest of his name, that was Paul. The rest of his name comes from a knight of King Arthur's court named Sir Bors, B-O-R-S, Sir Bors. And he's not a major character. You'd maybe have to look him up. But he had a father who was also a knight, and at least in some versions. And that's where the junior comes up. So there's that Arthurian, the allusions to the Arthurian legends that's still going on. So I wanted to tell you about that. Now, Islandia, I had not put that in the earlier written version of this story. That's new. It kind of popped up. It sort of showed up. And it's not, I don't have it in there simply because I think it's a good book and it's forgotten, it isn't appreciated, and people should read it. It's more than that. I mean, if I'm not sure how much I'll do with it exactly, but it fits right in with a lot of the themes that are going on. Islandia. I actually do recommend that you get yourself a copy. They're paperback copies. They're not expensive if you're a fast reader anyway, and because it's a very big book. I think it's a good book, but I wouldn't say clutter up my work to advertise the book if I didn't think that it had a use in other ways. So I think that's maybe enough to tell you about Islandia. It was, in fact, my mother's favorite book, she once said. My mother's name was Barbara. And I managed to get a copy of that book and gave it to her as a present, along with my at least one sister, which she reread and then gave it back. And it's also true that I have read it twice and I'm working on a third time. So that is reality, what I just told you, that I've put into the fictional work. And there's going to be more, I hope, to be heard about Islandia. We'll have to see where that goes. And then I guess finally, for now, I'll say that Rodgers and Hammerstein, they've already made an appearance in this novel. When Violet was sitting on the beach watching Lance and Elaine, splashing and carrying on in the water and stuff, the song "Hello, Young Lovers" came to her mind. Well, "Hello, Young Lovers" is a song from Rodgers and Hammerstein's "The King and I," and I've mentioned three songs from Rodgers and Hammerstein's Broadway musical Oklahoma. Oklahoma itself, Out of My Dreams, I think is the title of the one. And most importantly, Surrey with the fringe on top. Now, I wanted to tell you one thing about Surrey with the fringe on top. I once heard either Rogers or Hammerstein, I'm not sure which it was, interviewed. And the interviewer was asking him, of all that music, of all that stuff you produce, what's your favorite? And either Oscar or Richard replied that Surrey with the fringe on top was his favorite of all that vast opus of work that they did. And, the interviewer asked him, why? I mean, what's so special? And I wish I could remember which guy it was that said, he said, well, there was just such a simplicity to it, such a simple beauty to it, that it's the one I like best.